The Amazon basin breathes in the cool shadows of early dawn. High in the dense canopy, life begins to stir quietly. High in the dense canopy, life begins to stir quietly.
Vibrant giants navigate the towering kapok trees with absolute ease.
Every creature here relies on the endless bounty of the canopy. A three-toed sloth remains motionless, perfectly adapted to a slow existence, conserving precious energy in the humid morning air. Below the waking monkeys, the forest slowly reveals its hidden inhabitants. Apex predators of the sky carefully survey the intricate vertical world. Vivid colors pierce through the heavy, endless grays of morning fog. Every surface teems with life, moving at entirely different biological speeds. Down below, the jungle floor remains locked in deep, damp shadows. Heavy footsteps break the silence as a South American tapir searches. They require immense amounts of vegetation to sustain their massive bodies. Navigation through the flooded Varzea forest requires constant, cautious momentum. But they are never truly alone in the dark understory shadows. At the river's edge, a family of capybaras huddles for warmth. Peaceful moments are always shared with perfectly camouflaged, ancient aquatic predators. The black caiman is a master of patience and absolute stillness. Above the hunters, the strange Hoatzin clambers awkwardly through riverside branches. Despite the hidden dangers, morning routines along the river remain completely relaxed. In the flooded forest depths, ancient river dolphins break the surface. These waterways act as aquatic highways for entirely different apex species.
Highly social giant river otters begin their incredibly energetic morning patrols.
Fierce underwater chases disrupt the calm surface of the flooded forest. From above, the ultimate apex predator watches the chaos unfold silently. Vibrant warning colors signal absolute lethal toxicity to any potential predators. Giants lurk completely unnoticed along the edges of the muddy trails. The anaconda relies on stealth and sheer, overwhelming muscular constriction power. Even the insects here grow to terrifying, almost prehistoric physical proportions. As morning takes hold, the jungle awakens in an explosive chorus. The canopy layers are a complex, three-dimensional highway of tangled vines.
Spider monkeys traverse this dizzying maze with incredible speed and agility.
Paths cross continuously as millions of animals forage for limited fruit.
Their territorial roars can be heard for miles across the canopy. Meanwhile, others ignore the chaos, focusing entirely on their toxic diet.
Down on the dark forest floor, the undisputed king begins patrolling. Every creature above keenly tracks the phantom moving through the shadows.
Supreme confidence allows the big cat to move with utter indifference.
Even the largest herbivores quickly retreat at the scent of danger. An unrivaled sense of smell paints a vivid map of survival. Back at the water's edge, foraging continues despite the ever-present risks.
Giant river otters patrol aggressively, relying on speed to outmaneuver predators.
Reptiles wait patiently, absorbing the slowly rising ambient heat of morning. Vivid macaws traverse massive distances to locate highly specific mineral licks. Success in the river requires immense agility and unrelenting hunting pressure. The ancient black caiman commands absolute respect in these shallow waters. Tiny scavengers furiously strip scraps right in front of the behemoths. Another giant hunts silently beneath the murky veil of the river. Every animal knows the shallow waters hide the deadliest ambushes imaginable. Once fully submerged, the massive predator effectively vanishes from existence entirely. As the morning progresses, the dense jungle prepares for intense heat. The high canopy dwellers actively seek out the last lingering shade. Life operates on completely separate vertical planes simultaneously without ever interacting. Millions of microscopic workers carry immense loads to their underground colonies. These intelligent avian survivors possess absolute mastery over their dizzying domain. As temperatures steadily climb, conserving precious energy becomes a matter of survival. Even the most frantic and energetic monkeys succumb to the humid weight. The oppressive humidity forces a collective pause across the entire towering canopy. Every biological rhythm in the forest shifts into a prolonged midday slumber. Their unique specialized grip requires zero muscle tension to maintain complete safety. As midday strikes, a heavy, suffocating silence descends upon the humid understory. Even the most formidable apex predators must yield to the oppressive heat. During these stifling hours, a temporary, unspoken truce blankets the dark forest. Energy is strictly conserved for the physically demanding hunts of the twilight. They wait in complete stillness, perfectly camouflaged by the dappled foliage shadows. High above, the vibrant flocks seek sanctuary deep within the shaded foliage. Even the most territorial avian competitors share the precious few cool spaces. Massive specialized bills act as incredibly efficient biological thermal radiators. Brief interruptions in sleep are met with quick readjustments for maximum comfort.
Evolution has perfected an automatic locking mechanism requiring absolutely zero conscious effort.
Down in the flooded lowlands, mammals seek total submersion for thermal relief. The dark waters offer a cool refuge, shared by completely different worlds. Navigating the submerged labyrinth requires highly advanced internal sonar capabilities. Positioning eyes and nostrils atop their heads allows perfect aquatic surveillance. Here, they can wait out the searing heat in complete, relaxing safety. The jungle enters its deepest state of biological suspension and suffocating heat. For the slowest inhabitants, this suspended animation is their natural default state. Invisibility is absolute key when the sharpest eyes in the canopy rest. Growing algae directly within their fur provides the ultimate living organic camouflage. They are the undisputed masters of surviving purely by doing absolutely nothing. Even near the water, the oppressive tropical heat is completely inescapable now. Rival apex predators rest side by side, united purely by extreme thermal exhaustion.
Unlike most felines, the mighty jaguar actively embraces the cooling river waters.
Ancient reptilian thermoregulation strategies have remained perfectly unchanged for millions of years. Every breath forcefully expels heat, pushing the powerful body toward afternoon recovery. As the peak heat begins to crack, life slowly restarts its engine. Hunger finally overrides the extreme exhaustion of the grueling tropical midday hours. Specialized tools are required to access the heavily armored calories hidden within. The canopy explodes back into frantic motion as feeding territories are reclaimed. Every hard-earned meal fuels the relentless, demanding rhythm of rainforest survival. As the harsh light finally softens, the understory begins to cool significantly. The apex predator rises, its senses instantly snapping back to lethal focus. The shift in temperature triggers a dangerous change in the forest dynamics. Cooling air currents begin to carry vital scent trails across the understory. Built purely for explosive ambush power, the hunt officially begins once more. As the sun dips, herds return to the banks to graze heavily. The riverbank transforms into a bustling, incredibly vital late-day feeding ground.
High-energy hunters maximize the cooling afternoon hours to secure their final meals.
But as shadows lengthen, a deep inherent paranoia begins to quickly resurface. They know entirely well that the fading light heavily favors their executioners. High above, the changing temperature signals a shift in rhythm. Massive raptors prepare for one final, highly calculated aerial patrol. Every branch becomes a bustling thoroughfare for the returning flocks. They must secure their prey before the heavy darkness completely takes over. Even the slowest travelers must find their secure nightly roosts. Down below, the murky waters conceal ancient, cold-blooded awakenings. Giant reptiles finally slide silently from their cooling afternoon mudbanks, returning to the aquatic realm, where they hold absolute, terrifying dominance. The water surface betrays only the slightest ripples of chaotic movement. As the ultimate ambush predators prepare patiently for the incoming night shift. On land, the undisputed king of the jungle is now actively moving. Above, nervous sentinels sound frantic, piercing alarms into the cooling air. But the predator remains completely unfazed by the surrounding chaotic noise. Every silent step brings it dangerously closer to the exposed river's edge. The Jaguar navigates the dense underbrush with terrifying, absolute lethal silence. The final rays of daylight struggle weakly against the incredibly thick canopy. Remaining reptiles climb desperately to absorb the very last lingering warmth.
Awkward avian residents loudly claim their highly contested nightly roosting spots.
On the dark forest floor, giant arachnids finally begin emerging fully. The dramatic transition of power from day to night is now imminent. Twilight descends heavily, painting the humid sky in dusty, muted blues. The predators use this rapidly fading light as their ultimate cloak. The canopy dwellers settle securely into the tangled, ancient liana vines, finding absolute safety in numbers against the looming, terrifying darkness below. Eyes close as the diurnal world surrenders completely to the night. Now, the dark understory belongs entirely to the ruthless nocturnal specialists. Massive constrictors wait endlessly along the well-worn, muddy, nocturnal trails. The dark river acts as a mirror, hiding deadly, glowing eyes. The tension in the rapidly cooling air becomes tangibly, unbearably heavy. They wait with infinite patience, perfectly adapted for the coming slaughter. Along the highly exposed mudbanks, the heavy grazers bunch tightly together. They know entirely well that the dark water behind is dangerous. But the shadowy forest edge ahead holds a far greater terror. Every single muscle twitches with pure, unadulterated primal survival instinct now. They know the darkness belongs entirely to the ultimate silent executioner. The stalk is a masterclass in lethal, calculated feline patience. The predator keeps its heavy, muscular body impossibly close to the earth. Other hunters wisely flee the area, sensing the impending sudden violence. The big cat pauses perfectly still behind a thick, organic wall. The entire flooded Varzea forest seems to collectively hold its breath. The herd senses imminent doom, stepping nervously toward the dangerous waters. The Hevel jungle silence becomes utterly deafening in the thick twilight. The tightly coiled spring of pure muscle is finally ready to release. The climax of the day arrives with terrifying, explosive, sudden violence. The massive jaguar steps boldly from the deep, suffocating fern shadows, revealing its immense, beautiful physical power on the muddy twilight riverbank. It stands completely unchallenged, the absolute, undisputed phantom of the Amazon. A perfect, flawlessly lethal reflection of the wild, untamed, dark jungle.